From the Ear to There Travel Studio, this is the Ear to There Disney Podcast.
The Ear to There Podcast, it's time to start the show. Be sure to hold on tight, here we go. Exploring all the different Disney destinations. Ear to There, it's time to start the fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There Disney Podcast. I'm your host, Phil Gramlich. I am also the owner and the founder of Ear to There Travel, which is a Disney specialized travel agency. It is my job, along with all of the vacationers on the Ear to There Travel team, to take away all of that stress, all that anxiety, and all that time that it takes to plan a Disney trip, so you can focus on the really, really fun things, like having a great time with your family and friends, and enjoying the magic. And yes, we do specialize in Disney vacations, so that means Walt Disney World, Disneyland, the Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, and Disney's Aulani in Hawaii. We specialize in those locations, but we also can book pretty much anywhere in the world, on the planet, you name it, we can book it. And like a struggling musician handing out CDs in Times Square, our services, like their music, are always free of charge. Actually, I had a guy in Times Square a couple of years ago try to sell me his CD, his demo. And I was like, man, I don't even have a CD player. Where am I going to play your CD? Anyway, you can listen to this podcast, meet the entire Ear to There travel team, or request your free, no obligation quote over at eartotheretravel.com. This is episode number 182 for the week of October 7th, 2019. Now, grab a drink, grab a snack, and as a famous mouse once said, on with the show. Now, right here is normally where the What About Bob segment would go on the podcast. Bob is super busy. Bob is the busiest 88-year-old dude I have ever met in my entire life. It is insane. So Bob and I are scheduled to record in early November. So you can look forward to all new What About Bob segments starting next month. But for right now, in October 2019, Bob is just too busy with travel and with events. And listen, he's got a much, much, much busier social life than I have. So look forward to new What About Bob segments coming out in November 2019. So this week's show is all about questions. I get a lot of questions in my inbox, in my email, on Facebook, on Instagram, via smoke signals. I don't even know why I said that, but I get a lot of questions. And normally I will just go through and answer them all in email form, but that takes a while. Lots of times I will answer those questions while I'm walking the dog. I'll throw on the headphones, do the voice text, and just answer them. But this week I wanted to answer your questions, listener questions on the show. So if this goes well, we will have more of these listener question shows in the future. But for now, these are actual questions from actual listeners. Here we go. Here to answer questions with me is a lady who answers a ton of questions during the day.
That's true.
From her 3 children. You may know her from such episodes as...
Almost all of them at this point.
Lots of episodes of recording. Ames, how are you this week?
Hi, good. How you doing?
This is my wife, by the way. This is Amy Elizabeth Levitt Gramlich as a full name.
That's a mouthful.
You don't have any more nicknames, do you?
That's it.
Okay.
I mean, I have nicknames, but I don't know if they're all
We can't go in. Yeah, I was going to say we can't go into those in the show. So you're good? You're feeling better?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still coughing, so sorry in advance, guys, but it's better than it was.
We're going to try to not have to edit those coughs out.
By the way, I do want to tell you that I appreciate that you call me a lady. That doesn't happen that much in my life.
It's a lady. No, nobody calls you a lady.
Not usually.
They call you other 4-letter words.
No.
You're like all hurt by that.
I would.
So I've done this before, this questions type of episode.
This is a great idea. I'm excited.
Yeah, I did it with Johnny Shortsleeve, I think, a year or two ago.
Okay.
It was a while ago, but I didn't think to just ask for questions, like ask readers
just like open it up
listeners.
to the people.
So we did it today. You know what? I have here's the lousy thing about doing it this way. I definitely have a backlog of questions on email.
Okay.
That I probably should be answering first. I'm going to tell you that I'm not a perfect human being.
This is the first time I realized that.
In case you were wondering. But listen, I do my best to get to every single question on email personally.
Right, you really do.
I get a lot of questions. Usually I respond back quickly.
No, I think you do an excellent job. I mean, there's no way that that you could answer every single question you get.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like Facebook questions and Instagram questions and Twitter stuff that I haven't gotten to. But I do try. I try to get to everybody and everything.
And I think that eventually you'll get to all of them.
Yes, when I develop a cloning system to make more than one of me.
Yes.
Would that be awesome to have more than one of me?
Definitely not.
No, you would love it. It would be the greatest thing ever.
I would?
Yeah, because I'm awesome. Because, listen, you don't drive.
Like I could carry you.
No, you don't drive.
We
would need to get another car.
One.
We would need to get another car.
Right.
But no, we wouldn't really.
No.
Like we could have driving Phil.
Right.
Who's just driving Phil.
Does he
run errands?
Do they all have your personality?
Oh, of course.
Do
it's
you
a
tweak
clone.
your personality?
Why would you tweak my personality? If you start messing with that, no, then you have
a problem.
Then the terrorists have won. You can't mess with my personality. No, I don't even know what that means. So what we did was we reached out to Facebook friends, to podcast listeners, to people to ask them what questions they would want answered here on the podcast, and we're going to answer them. How about that?
I think it's great. I'm excited.
So
let's wait to hear what you guys ask.
Yeah, there's some.
What are you interested in? What's on your mind?
What's on my mind?
No, the listener. I know what's on your mind.
What? No, right now, what's on my mind? Besides this show.
Okay, so what's on your mind?
I want you to tell me what I was thinking about. Maybe something that was on my mind 10 minutes before the show.
So you were thinking about how much work you have left. You were thinking about, okay, when should I make lunch? And how long is it going to take me to finish my work tonight? It's a lot of work and stress on your mind.
Yeah, but none of those things are what I was thinking about, actually.
You were just thinking about how gorgeous I am and how much fun I am to be around.
All true, but I wasn't thinking about that either.
Okay.
I was racking my brain to think about if a stomach injury will keep Deshaun Jackson out of playing this Sunday
for the
Eagles. I was thinking how long it takes to recover from a stomach muscle pull.
How long does it take to recover?
It's been 3 weeks, so a while. 4 weeks.
Longer than you expect.
Yes.
Is the answer.
Longer than it should take. They need his speed on the field. That's what I was thinking of, if you want to know. He's a Philadelphia Eagle for people who don't know. I don't think
anyone asked, but that's totally fine.
Well, I know what you were thinking of. Phil is the greatest guy.
Oh my gosh, you read my mind.
He's so handsome. And he's funny.
You guys,
and he's a good dad.
This is just all day. Like all day, every
And he
day.
takes care of all my needs. Anyway, let's answer some questions.
Yeah.
So,
please.
Oh my God, are you okay?
Fine.
All right, so let's start. This is a fun one. We're going to start with this. We're going to go with, we had a couple questions from a couple people on the Ear to Their Travel team. So we're going to start with them. A couple of the vacationeers, the other agents that work with me.
Are we saying people's names that asked? Like little shout outs?
Yeah, we're going to do
Cool.
shouts out for this.
Oh dear. I forgot about the shouts out situation.
If you didn't hear that episode, Amy and I had a whole discussion on whether the plural of shout out will be shouts out, which is correct.
Not correct
or
at all.
Shout outs, which is incorrect.
Clearly, obviously, shout outs, but go on.
So yes, we will. I'll just say it your way. We will have some shout outs on this one. This one I will not give last names because there's children involved. So
no, I don't think we need to do any last names.
Okay, so this is from somebody on my team, on the Ear to Their Travel team. Her name is Heather. She is a vacationeer with Ear to Their Travel. Heather wants to know, this is a fun question, what are your favorite Halloween costumes that you each have worn?
Oh, that's a great question.
This is a non. I don't know if is this a Disney question or a non-Disney question. I guess. I'm just. It didn't. She put it in general, so we'll make it in general.
Yeah, because my answer is not a Disney answer.
Okay, so you go ahead first, and I will answer second.
Okay, this is what you and I have worn.
That's what the question says.
Okay, perfect. So my favorite thing that we ever did.
I mean, I'm not inside Heather's brain. I can't see what she meant, but that's what it reads as.
Right, I gotcha. My favorite costumes that we worn were when Alexa was like 11 months old. No, 10 months old. And
She's our oldest daughter, in case this is your first
oldest, right.
time listening. She's 8, almost 9.
Yes, that's correct.
Currently,
so not that. Then she was like 10 months old. And so we didn't know what we were going to do. We were like, we got to dress up with this kid. Like, this kid is so fun. She's cute. She's our first kid. We should get into the spirit.
Kid.
Right?
It just sounded funny the way you said that.
Like we had other ones, but so she was it for then. So we're like, we got to get in the spirit and be part of the Halloween fun. So we got her like this adorable hot pink poodle costume.
Yes.
And then we dress up as dog catchers.
Yes, that was
so fun.
That was awesome.
It was a great one. So we had like backwards baseball caps, and we had like tattoo sleeves.
I think we had our hats were forward because they had
forward. I'm sorry.
I'm a crazy person when it comes to stuff like this, like
he is
creativity.
A little bit. He gets really into it.
So I went out and bought like trucker hats, and then I made dog pound logos that I put on the front of the hats.
You did. That's right.
And then we bought the fake tattoo sleeves.
They were so fun
because apparently only dog catchers are tatted up.
I don't know why we decided to do that. I think we just saw them and actually did the costume around them.
Yeah, we put like,
what can we do to go with her outfit that we can wear tattoo sleeves?
Yeah.
Because they're awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. And then I like grew a goatee to kind of fit.
You did, that's right.
Because apparently dog catchers have goatees as well.
This was clearly when we had only one child.
we had a lot of time in our hands to think of costumes.
So Heather, that was my personal favorite costume that we've ever done.
That's a good one. I had some really fun costumes over the years. Not a ton of Disney costumes.
No, you're right.
One year, I took my guitar case. I wore ripped jeans, leather, like brown boots, and a brown, really tight t-shirt, and a blonde, like short-haired wig and sunglasses, and I went out as Bon Jovi.
That's really fun. I don't know if I ever heard that story.
So I went to a Halloween party. This was after I had my jaw surgery.
Oh, yeah.
So I weighed about 125 pounds soaking wet. I was skinny as heck, and I was John Bon Jovi.
That's really fun.
And that was one of my favorite costumes. I think since we've had kids, I was a Cowardly Lion one year. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was kind of lame, though. I didn't do a whole lot for that.
No, we didn't get super into it that time.
So I think my favorite all-time one was 2008 Phillies World Series. The Phillies were playing the Tampa Bay Rays in the World Series. And I dressed we went to a Halloween party that just so happened to be during the World Series. I dressed as an umpire. If you remember, I wore a blue shirt, a light blue shirt, a dark blue hat, sunglasses, and I used a cane because I was a blind umpire from the World Series. And you wore a yellow shirt and a yellow hat, and we made a beer vendor tub that you carried around the party. You were a beer vendor.
Oh, thank you so much, Heather, for asking this question because I
that was a fun one.
That.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
That was a really good one.
And then I dressed up like a woman one year. I dressed up as like a Playboy Playmate.
We're talking about Halloween. I got him. Good.
That was really good.
I got him good, guys.
All right. Okay. Let me get myself together. All right. So we have a couple other questions, and these are from Griffin and Owen.
Okay.
And Griffin and Owen, I forget your ages. I'm sorry. Blame your mom because she did not put your ages in the question, and I just copied and pasted the questions into a different folder.
Totally
so
fine.
Griffin and Owen, blame your mom. Owen wants to know, what is our favorite snack? I'm assuming he means Disney snack.
Oh, fun.
What is your favorite Disney snack?
Well, I always go for like, as soon as someone asks me a question, I just say the very first thing that pops in my head because it feels like the most honest. I don't even know if this is available anymore, but it has to be the jalapeno stuffed cheese stuffed.
Yeah,
is it currently available?
Not really. I mean, it is. I think it's in the water parks.
Okay.
And a couple other places, but it's not widely available.
For you guys who don't know, it used to be in Animal Kingdom.
And they also had it at Hollywood Studios right outside the exit, the Great Movie Ride, before that was all
it's this
worked
huge,
on.
soft pretzel, and it has some kind of cheese baked onto it. I think just cheddar cheese, right?
Sure.
Baked
I don't know
on
what kind
the
of cheese it was.
outside. And then inside
I wasn't involved in the process of the recipes.
Like melted cheese with jalapenos, like very small, minced into it.
Yeah.
And you just bite into it, and it's, oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome. I miss those.
Yes.
And since we pretend the water parks don't exist, our children don't know where those things are.
That's really true. That is
They have
true.
never been to the water park.
So that is my favorite Disney snack. But if it's not super available, if I have to think of like my backup, I would just say a Mickey pretzel with the hot cheese.
You're not going popcorn, huh? I'm shocked that you're not going popcorn.
I know.
The popcorn cart when you first enter Magic Kingdom on the left? Really?
You know why? Because I never get it anymore.
Yeah, the kids get it though sometimes.
Sometimes.
Weirdly, they get it on the way out because we usually get to Magic Kingdom in the morning and stay all day. So, 10 o'clock in the morning.
But that's always fun, like walking out, having a little popcorn as you walk.
It is.
Awesome.
And then they spill it all over the monorail.
Also true.
That's happened 4 times.
That's very true.
All right, so my favorite snack
just gonna
is
say
What's
that is
your
from
favorite
Imagination
snack?
Movers.
What's your favorite snack?
Just in case you guys are not as familiar with it as we are.
Imagination Movers is coming on Disney Plus.
It sure
I think.
is, baby.
If you've never watched Imagination Movers,
Every
it's
episode.
a kids show. It used to be on Disney Junior, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
There are these guys from New Orleans who had a kids band and it became a show and Disney played it. It was a really good show.
It was really fun. Totally adults can watch it.
Fun,
like funny
catchy
jokes,
music too.
Great
Anyway,
music.
Imagination Movers, you should check that out.
What's your favorite snack?
All right, favorite snack. So I think my go-to stock answer is always the soft pretzel from Germany
That is your go-to
at
answer.
World Showcase. I love that. I just love that pretzel.
You do.
And listen, I'm going to get real serious right now for a minute.
Okay, here we
This
go.
is serious. This is Deep Thoughts with your host, Phil. Serious. I was trying to be serious, okay, Ames? Don't look
He's
at me
not
like
good
that.
at it. He's not.
No,
good.
I'm not good at being serious. So, again, unless it's sports related, then I'm super serious.
That's true.
If it's Eagles or Phillies or Flyers or sometimes Sixers related, I'm super serious. But anything else, I'm just like, whatever. And business related, I'm serious about that, too.
That's true. You are.
About my clients and
Don't
their
worry,
trips.
you guys.
Anyway, yeah, I had to throw that in there. It is true, but I forgot about it. But anyway, my favorite snack, I always want to say Germany pretzel. And I've heard from a lot of people who I recommended the Germany pretzel to, seriously, who have been like, it's the pretzel. No, it's not.
Oh no, you can't say that to you.
It's a buttery.
That's fighting words.
It's like buttery deliciousness.
It is different than most pretzels.
It's better. It buries the Mickey pretzel, and I like the Mickey pretzel. But there's a problem with a soft pretzel if you need cheese on it. There's a problem.
No, I get it. I only like it
Mickey
because
pretzels.
of the cheese.
Yeah, you like the Mickey pretzel
Right.
because you dip it in that hot plastic cheese.
That's really what I get it for. Is the
right.
hot
But
plastic
the
cheese.
Germany pretzel doesn't need a dip. You just eat
It doesn't
that
need a dip.
all natural. All natural. How do you say that?
You're right the second time. First time, not so.
I'm not good with accents, but anyway, all natural is what I meant to say. I said natural. That's all right.
No.
But that's my stock answer.
So what's your like actual?
I don't know because like you have like these new ones that you try.
I know.
And you kind of it floats like you go back and forth, and I don't know. Lately, I've been dying for popcorn. I've been dying for, just standard Disney, hot like popcorn. We got it at Disneyland a couple months ago. The kids got it, and I ate. I remember somebody was like, "I'm just going to throw this out." It was like half thing of popcorn. I'm like, get out of here!
Don't throw out popcorn. Disney popcorn. Are you
I'm
serious?
walking. I'm burning these calories off. I'm eating that.
Exactly. I'm eating that.
So yeah, I love the popcorn. I think
Me too.
there are just so many snacks, and I'm much more of a savory guy than a sweet guy. So I don't go for normally the cupcakes. I like a Dole Whip for like a couple of bites, and then I'm like, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah, I'm not a big ice cream person, so I don't do like the Mickey ice cream bars.
Yeah, but so yeah, I'm much more of a hot even like the cheeseburger spring rolls. I thought those were awesome.
Those are
Stuff like that. Like I like anything salty. All right. So that was Owen's question. Griffin's question. This is a tough one. This is going to be like picking your favorite child.
Oh, I can't wait.
Favorite ride
Oh wow.
in Walt. I'm
That's a
guessing.
good one.
I'm guessing Griffin is meaning in Walt Disney World. So that's what we're going with.
Yeah. I would imagine that.
So your favorite ride. Now listen. Again, it's like picking your favorite kid. What do you got?
It is. No, it is. And obviously, again, my very first instinct is just to say sorry. But Toy Story Mania, because it does have everything. It has everything that I want. You know what? I'm going with it. I'm going with it.
Listen,
sorry.
it's the one you've talked about more than any other thing on
I
this show.
feel like I would be not being true to myself if I didn't say it. If I just was like, I should vary it for you guys, make it interesting. No, he asked me a question. I'm going to give him an honest answer. It is Toy Story Mania. I love everything about it. I even love it's because I've done it a good amount of times without shooting because I've had 2 kids.
Yes.
And they've each had a gun. I don't care. I still love it. Because it's like so fun, the movement in between.
Yeah, we're in a weird spot where like the kids can't ride by themselves a lot of times. So, one of us has to have 2. Alexa now is tall enough and old enough that
that's
she can.
going to open a whole new world.
Yeah, if she's not by herself, she's going to love it. She loves that.
Oh, that's the best feeling.
When she was riding by herself in Disneyland on her last trip, she thought she was the queen of Disneyland for the day.
She left us and we went in a different
She was like doing that. Yeah,
her.
She was like doing that princess wave.
Yes!
You know how you just turn your hand from side to side? Totally. Yeah, she thought she was in charge of the trip that day.
She did.
But Toy Story Mania, your favorite.
That's my answer. That's always going to be my answer. I don't think it's going to change.
I have such a hard time with my favorite attraction because any given day, I wake up and have a different favorite.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that.
Like, there's probably 5 or 6 that I rotate between that somebody, when I'm put on a spot, I say one of them. But
like just your first instinct.
My first instinct right away was Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I think that's right for you.
My first instinct, and my second was Splash Mountain.
Right.
Crazily,
my second was Millennium Falcon, but maybe that's just because it's the newest.
Yeah, Smuggler's Run is awesome.
Yeah.
Again,
Smuggler's Run.
No. I just want people to understand. It is confusing.
Right.
The darn Star Wars rides and lands have 35 different names.
They really do.
It's Star Wars Land. It's Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. It's Batuu. It's Millennium Falcon. It's Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. It's Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. You're like, come on, pick a name.
Just choose a name. So
man, it makes it really confusing. It makes it super confusing for people who are casual fans.
It does.
To figure the darn thing out. Like, oh, here's Batuu. Oh, yeah, but I want to get to Star Wars Land. No, that is Star Wars Land. Oh, and it says Black Spire Outpost. What? Too many names. They should have picked one. Anyway, yeah, I love that attraction. But I think for me, and this might completely change once Rise of the Resistance does open. And again, I love Flight of Passage. I think that's phenomenal.
Right.
I love all the Disney classics. I love Jungle Cruise, Indiana Jones. Oh, excuse me. I'm still getting over it too. The cough and the cold and everything else. But Pirates, and specifically Pirates of the Caribbean and Disneyland.
Yes. I think that is technically your favorite.
Might be the best theme park attraction on the planet.
I think that's your favorite.
It's so good.
It's really good.
And I love it in Walt Disney World.
Oh, sure.
But when I first saw it in Disneyland in 2009,
you just fell in love.
I was like, holy cow, this is better.
Yeah.
It's longer. It tells a better story.
It does.
There's more to see. It's not really more detailed because they're both amazingly detailed. But it's just a little bit longer. The caves are better when you're down in the caves and it tells that story. I love it. So for Griffin, I'm going to say Pirates of the Caribbean today in early October 2019.
Perfect.
I'm saying Pirates of the Caribbean. All right, so let's move on.
Good answer.
Thank you. This one is from my friend Chris Yancic.
Oh,
and this is
the last names.
Chris, that's fine. Chris understands. Chris Yancic from Oklahoma. He's not really from Oklahoma. Sorry, you're right. We did say no last names, but Chris is an adult. He's fine.
True.
And he's been on the show, so it's okay.
That's true.
He's been on the podcast, so we use his last name then. So Chris wants to know, this is specifically for you.
Oh, I love this. Look at this.
And his question is,
Chris.
He's completely forgetting about me on this question. Amy.
Yes.
And this is a quote.
Yes, Chris.
Why can't you get Phil to ride Mickey's Fun Wheel, which is now called the Pixar Pal Around? Chris, thank you very much. You got the name of the attraction wrong, buddy. But
so why can't if
you're gonna write a question in that's kind of making fun of me, at least get the name of the attraction right. Anyway, why can't you get me to ride it?
So, Chris, that is a great question, by the way. Thank you. And you're right. It is interesting because I am pretty influential in your life.
It's true.
But so my answer, I think, would be twofold. So the first answer, the kind answer, is because honestly, Phil is not afraid of very many things in this world. Very few things, in fact. And one of them is flying. And sometimes he has to do that.
Which is so ironic.
Yes.
Because of my job.
It is. And that's why I've been like, okay, we'll drive anytime we can, which we still do. We still drive to any trip that we can.
Well, just be for real. Driving's a pain in the butt, but we've done it.
But he prefers it over flying.
Yeah, and I appreciate it.
That.
I thank you for driving with me.
It's basically flying and Mickey's Pixar Pal Around. Those are basically the two big ones, right? So the nice answer as to why I can't get him on it is that I've never seen his face except Zephyr on a flight the way that it looks when he's just looking at any kind of Ferris wheel. Just standing anywhere near it.
It is. It's Ferris wheels in general.
The color of his
but this
skin
one
changes.
in particular, it's really big.
Breathing quickly. I'm not even kidding.
I didn't do the London Eye either when we were in
I know
London.
You didn't. I've done it.
Yeah, there's no chance. And that's like enclosed.
It doesn't matter.
I'm like, no.
He gets pale. He gets very sweaty, very just watching it, just knowing that other people are on it. Yeah, it's sheer panic. So the nice answer is that I would never do that because it's very few things.
Wait, you said the nice answer. There's a mean answer coming
Well, the
up?
real answer is the reason that I really can't get him on it is because I'm just not sneaky enough. So, he has gotten me on quite a few attractions because he just lies. He just says,
no, I don't lie.
Excuse me. When I was going on Rock and Roller Coaster, I said, I will do this as long as I don't go upside down. And you said, no, you don't go upside down. And our friend that was there also said, no, you don't go upside down.
It wasn't just me that said he didn't go upside down.
Well, right. That's worse.
These were pre, Google on our phone days.
Yeah, no, I didn't even have a phone.
Couldn't
I didn't
tell.
even know if I had a phone at that point.
You couldn't tell. You had no idea.
There was no way for me. There weren't, YouTube videos.
No, you had to be in front of a computer.
I just had to
Google that. Yeah.
What the man that I was at that point, I believe, going to marry. Perhaps I was already married to him.
No, we weren't married. No way.
Engaged, I think.
Maybe.
I just had to trust him. Why would he lie to me? Well, he did. He lied to me. I went on the thing. I sure did go upside down, and I've never gone on it since. But I cannot be sneaky now because of things like YouTube videos, and just because you can. With a Ferris wheel, you can see. It's not like Ferris wheels are different.
Right. No, but there's no not knowing anymore.
Right.
The Pete Holmes.
So I just can't manipulate it enough, Chris. That's really the true answer.
Yeah. One of my favorite stand-up comics, Pete Holmes, does this whole bit about having Google on your phone and knowing everything. He's like, we just know now.
It's true.
And he's like, and remember that you just wouldn't know something? He's like I remember lying in my bed at home and I was like, where's Tom Petty from? And you just wouldn't know.
You just never would find out.
And he's like, you just wouldn't find out until one day you saw somebody wearing a Heartbreaker shirt and you came up to her and you said, where's Tom Petty from? And she said, Florida. And the endorphins washed over you. He's like, but now we don't have that. Now life is meaningless because not knowing feels exactly like knowing. Because you know so quickly.
You know within 2 seconds.
But anyway, yeah, I did. I may have tricked you once or twice to get me that attraction. Maybe the Mummy at Universal.
The Mummy I was just thinking of.
Maybe Expedition Everest.
Even though
you should have saw that coming. You saw the drop. We were outside.
No, it was the back. I think it was the backwards.
Yeah, I probably didn't tell you about that.
I think it was the backwards. Yeah, you definitely didn't tell me it was the backwards.
And these are the attractions that she's done one time and never will ride again.
These are all one and done, yes.
All right, so Chris, that's your answer. There you go.
I hope it helped, Chris.
All right, so this one's from Susan Lawson. I'm using last names. I'm sorry, Susan.
Okay.
These aren't children.
Okay.
If they wanted a name, I'm not going to tell them where anybody's from, but full names are fine.
Right.
Susan Lawson wrote, "Hi, Amy and Phil. I love when you guys host together."
Oh, thank you, Susan.
That's nice. My question for each of you is, what is your favorite ride attraction at each Walt Disney World park?
Oh, fun.
I think this gets a little, and she has a second question that we'll ask in a minute.
Okay.
But this is getting a little more specific. All right, so
should we go back and forth?
So Susan, first, thanks for your question. Yeah, let's start with.
Thank you.
Let's go with youngest park to oldest park.
Okay.
So we'll go. So go Animal Kingdom. What's your favorite Disney's Animal Kingdom attraction?
I mean, I have to say Safari. No, I'm not going to say Safari. I have to say Flight of Passage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going. I don't want to interrupt you. So go ahead, get your thoughts out, and then. I
have to say.
I see you looking at the ceiling. I don't know what you're doing. You're looking. Is it written up there?
I was trying to remember everything I like doing. There.
It's funny that to look at people when they think, right?
We don't go. Yeah.
You're thinking while you're thinking, you look at the ceiling. What's up there?
We don't. To be honest, I don't spend as much time in Animal Kingdom as I do in any of the other parks.
To my absolute horror.
Chagrin, yes, and horror.
Chagrin is a good word. That's what I was looking for.
Much better word.
I didn't find that.
Well, I found it for you. So
you're much more intelligent than I am. Proven
no
once again.
Anyway,
go ahead.
So, I obviously have to say Flight of Passage. I just feel like it would be unfair not to say it because it's so unique. Because it's
so good.
It's just mind blowing. So I definitely would say Flight of Passage. But I thought of Safari, and I'm glad that I'm going to give it a little shout out because they really, I've been on that since it started, right? Since Animal Kingdom opened.
Since its inception.
Yes, I have been.
Which is also
Safari.
a good movie.
And yes, and I remember for a couple years at least being like, oh, I wonder if we'll see any animals this time. I mean, there were definitely times when you just didn't see any animals.
Yeah, I felt like in the beginning, 98, like opening.
If you saw like 2 animals, you were like, what?
They figured out, and they figured it out early.
They did figure it out.
You and I
early.
were there literally a few weeks after it opened.
2 seconds after it opened.
So they figured it out pretty early how to get those animals moving around the savannah.
They've done better and better where now you just see every kind of animal.
Yeah, I never had bad safaris anymore.
No, and it's amazing. So I just want to give them a
shout
out.
It's like I live in Africa. Oh, I never take a bad safari.
But I just do want to give a shout out for what a great job they've done with that. But yes, if I had to say one, I would have to say Flight of Passage, which is just not like anything you'll ever experience.
Are you going to talk about the whole park, or just what? We're going to just do those 2?
That's it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I
wanted to give Susan a full answer.
Good, and I know she appreciates it. We got to get through all 4 parks, so let's go a little faster.
I'm done now.
From here on out, we'll just do like maybe one like line about it. Okay. We all set? I know you think you're on the show here, but you don't. It's me. I'm in control of the board. All right. So I don't know if I can disagree with those 2. I mean,
sorry guys, I'm so sorry.
I don't know if I can disagree with those two picks. I was going to say Avatar: Flight of Passage too.
Oh yeah. Well, I think it's hard not to.
I think Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run included. Avatar: Flight of Passage is the best attraction Disney's done in 20 years.
I think that's got to be right.
Maybe 25 years. It definitely eclipsed Soarin'. Mm-hmm. I have to go with Flight of Passage too. All right, so now over to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Your favorite attraction?
I mean, I think I am going to have to say Smuggler's Run.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry, you guys, but I know these are new and not everyone.
Yeah, you loved it. I was so happy with how much you liked it.
I loved it, and I could do it 27 times.
Me too,
because it's different every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get that people are like, oh, it's, not the big e-ticket. It's not, that big a deal. I get it. For me, that type of ride, the Smuggler's Run, that's the kind of thing that I like better. So I was just blown away. Like, the whole experience of getting to pick, you get to pick what you're going to do. How fun is that? And then every single role is totally different. And every single thing that you do on that ride affects the outcome.
Agreed.
That's totally unique.
When I heard that the gun or the engineer, people were like, but it's not going to be fun if you're not a pilot.
No, it's so fun to be an engineer.
Is it as much fun as a pilot? No, it's not.
I have no idea. I never got to.
I know, because you kept giving it up to the kids. The last time I did that, I was like, I'm flying this sucker today. I am not. I looked at our kids. I was like, who's got a pilot one? Give it to me. I'm doing it. It's true. I did.
You did. No, you did.
They flew it before. I've flown it. I'm doing it this time.
They each got a chance.
They got a chance. So anyways, I love that attraction. As a Star Wars fan, it ramps it up about 100% because of the queue, the hallway, the room with the hollow deck chessboard, being on the Falcon itself, walking down that hallway, those white, that super famous white doorways that you walk through.
Right.
Everything about it just feels so real.
I agree.
I couldn't disagree more with the people who were saying it's overrated. They're wrong.
I'm just so surprised.
I love it.
I was so blown away. And when we were there, everyone else's reactions were ours.
Right. I agree.
Like, oh gosh,
I know people were freaking out.
They loved it.
Anyway, so that's it's going to be hard to top that, but I do have a better one that I like slightly more at Hollywood Studios.
Bring it on, baby.
And it's the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
Oh, yes, that makes sense.
Which I think, again, should vie for one of the best Walt Disney World attractions each and every year. And only because I think the attraction starts, and I've said this so many times in the show, and I apologize, but it starts when you turn onto Sunset Boulevard.
No, I think it's worth repeating.
The whole walk down the road, you just see everything. You see the Hollywood Tower Hotel and the Hollywood Tower Hotel, and the cars are dropping, and it's just a complete experience from beginning to end. So well done. And listen, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout really, really, really grew on me over the years, but Hollywood Tower Hotel, the Tower of Terror is still better. So that's my pick at Hollywood Studios. What's your pick at Epcot? Thank you.
You're welcome. My pick at Epcot is always going to be Soarin'. I'm sorry again. I feel like these are very typical answers.
Wait till
I'm
super excited for the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster and Remy's Ratatouille adventure over at Epcot to
Well,
open.
I'm looking forward to that.
And the Mary Poppins attraction.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to
and the
everything
walk
new.
through Moana attraction.
Oh, right.
We got some cool stuff coming. But yeah, I think Soarin' is up there for me. It's probably the same for me at Epcot.
I mean, for me, it has to be. I've seen each iteration of it. That's a good word, right?
Yes, good word.
And I've liked every one of them. I definitely love this one the most. I've talked about that a lot with the transitions. I just think they did a really great job. But I just love it. I love the sensation. I love the smells. I love how it's such an all-encompassing experience. And I think it's really fun, like watching other people enjoy it.
Wait, so what was your last one? You said Smuggler's Run.
Right.
But you said your favorite all-time... You contradicted yourself. Well, you know. Your favorite attraction is Toy Story Mania. But it wasn't even your favorite at that part.
Because I didn't want to repeat it.
Okay. All right. But it's still your favorite overall.
Yes.
So it's tied.
Sure.
Okay. And now your favorite at Epcot, Soarin'.
Yes.
Got it. Mine too. I agree with Soarin' being my favorite at Epcot. I'm trying to think if anything beats it. I don't know if it does. I'm super excited about the Guardians roller coaster opening. I'm always going to have a special space in my heart for Spaceship Earth. I love Spaceship Earth.
Yes, me too. And it's so... it gets a hard
Ride
time.
Ride it now because it's going down for repro for 2 years. It's a long time.
That is a long time.
It's
necessary,
for a long time.
though. It's needed.
Yeah, I just hope they don't change it too much. I want them to change the scenes, make the animatronics better, but keep the feel the same.
I know.
I do know the narrator will change, so hopefully you're not in love with Dame Judi Dench because she will be going the way of the dodos soon. All right, Magic Kingdom, favorite attraction.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to think about this in advance.
Kind of like your life's plan.
That's really true. Or even my daily occurrence.
I mean, mine's easy. I already said it. Pirates of the Caribbean's mine.
Yeah, but you're not going to do a second.
No.
Well, you already answered that.
I answered the question. All right. Well, my other favorite at Magic Kingdom, Splash Mountain.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Pirates is my number one.
That's fine.
What's your number one?
You know what? I got to do, and you guys are all going to disagree with me, and this is a totally personal answer, but it's twofold. So my and I have to just do two. I'm really sorry. Who was this for? Was this for?
Still Susan.
Susan. Sorry, Susan. I thought so. Susan, sorry, I'm going to answer two.
Man, so Susan, you're taking up a lot of podcast time here.
My fault, not yours, Susan. You did a great job asking a great question. So my twofold answer is Mad Teacup, or whatever. Mad Tea Party?
That's right.
Yes, Mad Tea Party.
I wasn't going to correct you, but...
No, I got myself.
Since you wanted to correct me.
And Small World. And those are just totally personal things because the Mad Tea Party was my mom's favorite and then Small World was my dad's favorite when we were young. So it's just like, for me, it feels like I started Disney with the love of those two rides. And so they'll always be my two favorites.
That's a good answer. That's perfect.
Thank you. I'm very good at this.
Well done.
We should do this again, though. These are really fun.
Yeah, I like the question shows. This is fun because it's not one topic. You can jump around.
Exactly. And the show will always be different depending on what questions everyone asks.
I'm the cream of the crop. I rise to the top.
So he just said to me, like, man, this is taking a long time. This is like a long podcast. And here he is singing a whole song.
So Susan's second question. My second question is, did Grandma Short Sleeve run over Johnny with a moped? Hashtag, where is Johnny?
Where's Johnny? She said.
It's close, but it's who's, right?
Yeah, I was just trying to change.
Oh, I didn't know if you didn't know the
I
song.
know that it's Who's Johnny. I've seen Short Circuit.
So, who's Short Circuit, one of the worst movies of all time.
Absolutely terrible.
But we both know it well from our childhood.
It's a true story.
Did you know that they made, this is how messed up Hollywood was in the 80s? The actor that plays the Indian guy, who was like a scientist who creates Johnny Five.
Right, I remember.
He's actually a white actor in brown face.
So strange.
That is horribly racist.
Really weird. Yeah, it is.
Like, what were they thinking? The 80s were a crazy time. They couldn't find an Indian actor to play that role.
Hashtag, where is Johnny?
Excuse me. So Johnny is, listen, I didn't want to tell anybody about this. I'm not supposed to talk about where Johnny is. But I'm going to let the listeners know the truth.
I'm ready.
About where Johnny Shortsleeve has been.
Reveal it.
He was hired by the National Moped Association.
That's true.
And he is in charge of the Florida Safety Division. That is where he's working making sure that people on Florida mopeds are safe.
And they forbid any
You
podcasting.
cannot promote. It was fine when it was all about the charity work that he was doing.
Yes.
When he was helping promote them, when he wasn't an employee.
True story.
But now that he's an employee of the National Moped Association, he's not allowed to come on and talk about it.
They have surprisingly strict rules and laws.
They really do. And he is, listen, he's making a big difference. He is making helmets mandatory for mopeds.
They need him. They need him badly.
So he's needed more there than he is here.
True story.
So, I mean, that's all I can say about Johnny. I think last I heard, Grandma's doing well.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Still doing a fair bit of drinking during the daytime.
Yes, a lot of day drinking.
Good amount of smoking, even though the price of cigarettes keeps going up.
That's true.
She's doing okay. But Johnny, yeah, if you want to find him, you want to talk to him, call the National Moped Association.
Oh, they'll get you over to him.
I'm sure he's happy to get on the phone.
Sure.
I hope he listens. I think that was a good tribute to him.
Very nice.
To be honest with you, that's where Johnny is. All right, let's move on to Tyler's question. This is from Tyler Griffin.
Okay.
This is kind of long. I hope there's no obscenities in it, Tyler, because I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it directly from what you said.
I'm going to trust Tyler.
My wife and I are planning on attending the 50th anniversary celebration on October 1st, 2021. Our 15-year wedding anniversary will be on October 7th. We understand it is going to be crowded, and that's okay. We just want to be in Magic Kingdom on the 1st. So my question is, what, when, how is the best way to start planning and booking this trip? We do want to stay on property and enjoy Pop Century. I love your podcast. Thank you so much, Tyler. That's awesome. And feel like you hit closer to the casual Disney fans than some of the others. Thank you for all that you do. Tyler, you are awesome. Thank you so much for your question.
Oh, so nice.
And for your kind words.
Yeah, that was a great question and very nice.
And you didn't mention poor Amy, but I'm sure
you don't have to, Tyler. I'm totally fine.
I'm kidding. So Tyler wants to come to Walt Disney World for the 50th anniversary in 2021. So here's what you can do. You can make a room-only reservation 499 days out. So that's within that, right?
Yes, we are.
You can do that in order to save and make sure you have a room for the 50th anniversary.
That's not a bad idea.
At Pop Century.
Because then you can start saving towards it as well. You can know how much you're going to have to pay off.
Right. And here's what you can do. So you can book that on your own. You can book that through me. You can book that through one of the the vacationers here at Ear to Their Travel. We can help you book, or you can book at 499 days out. And then once the packages are released, call Disney. They can't convert it to a package reservation with tickets and a dining plan. But since you had that room on hold, they will then book the package, then cancel the held room. I mean, the reservation for the room only that you had. And then they'll refund you that money, and then you can repay it's kind of a pain, but it's the best way to ensure you will get that room and be on property.
Since you know you're going to be there at that time.
Exactly.
It's a pretty good idea.
As far as getting into Magic Kingdom on October 1st, 2021, I'm guessing it's going to easily hit capacity that day.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot going on. You're going to have to go early and wait in line. I know what happened with Disneyland's 50th and 60th. There were people lined up outside waiting to get into the park that day.
Like what time would you say that
the day before they were there.
Oh man.
Yeah, like it was all night. I don't know what Walt Disney World's going to do, because Disneyland, basically their Esplanade goes right out to a city street.
Right.
So it's easier. It's almost like they can't prevent that.
Right.
But now Walt Disney World, with all the security and everything, I'm not quite sure how they're going to allow people to line up for the 50th anniversary.
I'm
so
sure
I will
closer. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll announce it for sure on the show, and I'll put it all over social media when it's known. But as for right now, I think you're going to have to plan on sleeping outside somewhere.
I agree.
Whether it's
that's crazy
at a resort, whether it's in a convention center somewhere where they're going to line people up like they do for the D23 Expo, or whether it's outside the gates after you go through security, you're going to be waiting to get in to guarantee a spot. That's my guess.
And since you're going for that specific event, I think that's probably going to be what you have to do.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So,
but I think that's a great idea, and that sounds like a really fun anniversary.
It does. I won't be there because I just don't know if I would love the crowd unless I get an invite from Disney.
Oh,
if Disney invites me, then I'll definitely be there.
And I will come with you.
All right. This question. So Tyler, thanks again for your question. And If I haven't thanked everybody else already for the questions, thank you for sending them in.
We did, but
Okay.
thank you guys all so much. This is so fun.
All right, this one's from Byron. And Byron, I believe you pronounce your name Weed or Wide. I'm sorry. But Byron wants to know, what are the deciding factors for closing down a ride and who makes the final decision? So, Byron, I looked into it a little bit. It looks like it really does depend upon the CEO of the Disney company has a huge say in it.
Sure.
So when attractions like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride closed in Magic Kingdom, that had a good amount to do with Michael Eisner. There's a cool story about when and how Splash Mountain opened in Disneyland and how the idea was first put forward. Michael Eisner was a new CEO, of Walt Disney, or of the Disney company in 1984, and he went to an Imagineering meeting.
Right.
And eventual Disney legend Tony Baxter then was an Imagineer, had been with Imagineering for a while, but wasn't Tony Baxter that we know now. And he had designed Big Thunder Mountain, which was a huge deal. And Eisner brought his 14-year-old son along to Imagineering for the meeting. And he looked at all the things that the Imagineers were working on for the parks. And, excuse me, he was going through and saying what he liked, what he didn't like, deciding what he was going to greenlight for the park. And his son was in the back with this model. And he came over to Michael Eisner, to his dad, and said, "Dad, this one over here in the back is really, we should check this thing out." So he walked over, and it was a flume ride. It was with, characters from Song of the South. And Michael Eisner walked over and said, "Yeah, my son liked this one. He's young. He's the future of Disney guests. Let's put this one in the park."
That's so cool.
And that's how they decided. And the funny thing is, of course, Michael Eisner was a big fan of Synergy at the time.
Right, I
Disney
remember that.
company still is. So Disney had a movie coming out the following year called Splash. You might have heard of it.
I have heard of it.
With Tom Hanks, Daryl
If
Hannah.
you can imagine, I have actually seen that as well.
Yes, John Candy, all those guys. So he said, it's a big mountain. There's a splash at the end of it. Let's call it Splash Mountain. And that's how they came up with the name. It had been like Zippity River Run and
Right.
Zippity
Isn't that
Doodah
funny
and all
as well?
kinds of stuff. So, yeah, so that's how things kind of happen in Imagineering. They need a big green light by the CEO. That's not how, that is very much how the attractions get closed as well. I remember when I had Lee Cockrell on the show and we were talking about their decision to get rid of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That's when he was the vice president of Walt Disney World. So he had a lot of input in what was going to happen with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And there were the Toad-ins. And why are you looking at me like that? What's going on?
I'm listening. I'm just concerned because I feel like you're burying the lead.
I'm not bearing the lead.
Poor Brandon asked. Brandon?
Yes.
He did ask how.
No, not Brandon. His name is Byron.
Byron! Oh my gosh, Byron, I'm so sorry. He did ask how a ride decides to get shut
And this is
down.
what I'm telling. This is where I was going with
This
this.
is not what you're answering.
So it's
Sorry, Byron. I hope you're super interested in a question that you totally didn't ask because you're getting that answer.
the attendance of the attraction is a huge factor.
Wow.
The cost of the operating of attraction is a huge factor.
Totally worth the 20 minutes you went off on the other story. Go ahead.
And the decision is ultimately made by the vice president, by the president, and by the CEO of the Disney company. Thank you for Byron. I'm sorry that Amy.
You're welcome, Byron. Sorry that I called you the wrong name.
And I went on a little bit of a tangent. I apologize.
I actually think that now I can see how you were.
Did you see what I was trying to do with that?
What you were trying to do with
How
that.
it could be even like a chance thing that some kid liked it.
Yes.
So, okay, good. All right. Sorry, Byron. Amy does not like my creative process, which is why this will be her last show that she's on. All right. So Terry Cook wants to know, what are the best and worst things about rainy days in Walt Disney World? Common closures, best, worst rainy day parks, etc. She said she doesn't see a podcast on the topic yet. Maybe she's missing it. You want to hear something really funny, Terry? I thought you were missing it too, And then I was told by Amy, we actually haven't done that show.
Because you know what, Terry? We have talked about doing that show so many times.
I've talked about it with you and with other people.
And with other people, too.
I swore up and down like a couple hours ago that I had done that show. Right. No, you're right. You're exactly right.
We never ended up doing it. But it's a great question. And we've played around with that so many times. Let's just do that. And then something else has come up, so we just have done a different topic. But I think that's a great question and a great topic.
So what closes in, let's try to answer it. What closes in Walt Disney World in the rain? So the outdoor roller coasters will close.
Right. Test track always.
Test track will close. Big Thunder Mountain will close if it's a heavy rain. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train will close in a heavy rain. Splash Mountain usually won't because it's a flume ride and that stays open.
It does.
Which is
a really fun little difference.
Right.
Like you're already getting wet and then you're getting rained on. You get really wet.
Right. Like the Barnstormer will close.
Sure.
Basically attractions that aren't covered are going to close but the good thing is it's Central Florida. Most of the attractions are covered. Most of them are going to stay.
There's not a whole lot that closes.
No, there really aren't because most of them are inside. What's, in your opinion, what's the best? Asking you, Ames.
Right.
What is I know there's somebody else here, but I was
just me, baby.
I wasn't asking the listener. What is the best park to go to in the rain?
I mean, I like them all. I think that the best is probably Magic Kingdom, followed by Hollywood Studios, in my opinion.
So I kind of agree. I think Epcot is a great one.
It is a great one.
Because almost all the attractions, if not all the attractions now that I think about it, are inside.
I guess I just
The problem is the walking.
That's what I was going to say.
The rain.
Think of the walking.
Everything is so spread out at Epcot.
That's why I wouldn't say Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Because there's so much walking.
Epcot and Animal Kingdom, too much walking. If it's raining, listen. If it's raining, I'd say put on a poncho and go. I don't care what park it is.
Oh, so Terry, you asked what's the best thing about raining, or like the rain in the parks. The best thing is that most people leave.
Yeah, the crowd slow down, totally slow down.
Oh my goodness. So if you can just tough it out, like you said, put a poncho on, go inside for a while, eat lunch, have a snack, or especially if you're in Hollywood Studios, do some shows.
Yeah.
The rain never lasts very long. Never.
And even if you get a full rainy day.
Yeah, that does happen.
Which happens from time to time.
It does.
You can still make the most out of it by getting ponchos or getting an umbrella. They're not that expensive in Walt Disney World and just going.
Absolutely.
You're going to get wet. It's 80, 90 degrees. Who cares if you're wet?
You'll dry up. But no,
I care if I'm wet, but generally, in general, people don't care.
He deals with it. But so many people leave the park so that then, an hour later, a lot of times the rain will have stopped, but the park's empty. So you kind of have so many things to yourself, and it's a great thing. But I love Magic Kingdom in the rain because, there's so many things that you can, especially if you just go to Fantasyland, you can spend so long there. You barely have to walk from thing to thing. You barely get wet, and you can knock so much stuff out, and then you can eat there. You can go into a store. And like I said, most of the time, by the time you're done with all that, it's not raining anymore.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't think, as the host of the show and as a huge Disney Parks fan, my advice is to just tough it out. And
mine too.
Unless you have a medical or a little kid problem that's not going to, little kids sometimes don't do well in the rain. We've had it ourselves.
We sure have.
We had, our one of our kids has anxiety. It's not tremendously bad in the rain, but it used to be really bad.
One time it was really bad.
Full out panic attack because of the rain.
That was a bad one.
There's nothing we could do. We had to leave the park and the whole day was gone. But, mostly you can keep that stuff in check and you can kind of do, listen, you said Magic Kingdom is great. And I mentioned the roller coasters that shut down, but think about the stuff that doesn't shut down. I'm looking at my mat now. You can do Haunted Mansion, you can do
Magic
Pirates, you can do Jungle Cruise. No, Jungle Cruise runs in the rain, even if it's raining. You can do, all of Fantasyland,
absolutely,
all of Tomorrowland. So go to any of the parks.
Almost everything in Hollywood Studios.
No, absolutely. Like I said, and I think the best advice that we're going to give on this one is Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios are your two best. And Epcot's great for the attractions. It's not going to affect the attractions.
It is. It's just
except
you can't
for
walk
Test
around.
Track.
You can't walk around.
It's just a long World Showcase.
You can, but I wouldn't recommend.
World Showcase is tough in the rain.
It's really big.
It's tough.
It's a lot of walking, and so that's what. Because I know that.
Yeah, if you see a full rainstorm day, maybe avoid World Showcase at Epcot.
That's all. But Terry, I know that you asked what is the worst thing about the rain, and I would say just because I did live in Orlando for so long, I would say the worst thing about the rain.
The frogs.
being in Disney World, is the fact that it can be like blaring gorgeous sunshine, and then it doesn't just like start to drizzle.
Oh no, they're like
the
3 pound drops of rain.
Right. So
you know when you're in Florida and you feel that first drop,
you gotta run it,
and it feels like somebody dumped a bucket on your head on one drop of water. You're like,
yes.
We gotta go.
Because so that's what it is. My answer is just the way that it rains and the absolute downpour.
Yeah.
It could just be sheets of rain within 2 seconds of sunshine.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say is the worst. If you're not prepared for it and you're not aware of that, you can get very soaked very quickly. And if you're not anywhere near, a place to go inside, you could have a little bit of trouble.
Totally agree. All right, let's move on. So thank you, Terry, for your question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Moving on to Megan Huffer's question. Megan wants to know, what's the easiest way to get to Yeehaw Bob's show? So she's talking about Yeehaw Bob Jackson, of course, from Port
Great
Orleans,
question.
Riverside. He's at the River Roost Lounge. What is it? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Yeah.
That's right.
4 nights a week, Wednesday through Saturday. What's the best way to get there? Best way to get there is stay at Port Orleans Riverside.
That's true. Then you can just walk from your room.
But if it's not that, then I always say the best way, if you want the best free way to get there, then you take whatever from your hotel, your resort, wherever you are on Disney property, take the first theme park bus or Disney Springs bus. Disney Springs is really the best way because it's the closest.
It is the closest
to Port Orleans Riverside. But take the bus to the first theme park and then take the next free bus to Port Orleans Riverside is
absolutely
the best free way to get there.
Or you could monorail it and then, monorail it to a park.
Yeah, but that's tough. You could do Magic
harder.
Kingdom.
Yeah.
But then there's a good amount of walking from the monorail stop
the buses
to the bus stop. And then, I was thinking that too. If you're at Disney Springs, you could also take the boat to Port Orleans Riverside.
Oh, true.
That's a good way.
That's a great way.
If you're already
That's a great question.
If you're already spending the day at Disney Springs, or you're going to be at Disney Springs for something, there's a boat that's free that will take you over to Port Orleans Riverside, so you can do that. Or I think really best way, minivan or Uber.
Yeah, and it's totally worth it.
I mean, it's not going to cost you that much.
It's never that pricey
and you don't have
anywhere
to wait
on property.
And you don't have to wait.
You don't have to wait at all.
And the minivans all have car seats.
The minivans are adorable.
So I think they're all equipped with 2 car seats. So if you have 2 little kids,
and they're so cute.
And if you're going to have a third kid, you have to let them know in advance. But if you have 2 kids that need car seats or boosters, they have them in the minivans.
Isn't that great? So convenient.
Yeah, I think the best free way, like I said, bus from your resort to a park or Disney Springs, and then from Disney Springs or a park, bus it to Port Orleans Riverside. The fastest way, minivan or Uber, is the fastest way.
Great answer. Perfect. And great question.
His show is totally worth it. You got to go see it.
So worth it.
So yeah, but Yeehaw Bob Jackson is still, I think, the best free show on property.
I agree completely.
All right, so Sam, another Imagineer. She's not an Imagineer. Another vacationer.
Maybe someday. You never
Sam,
know.
if you want to be an Imagineer, you can do whatever you put your mind to. I sincerely and really believe that.
I agree.
But right now, she's a vacationer on the Ear to There travel team. Sam wants to know, what former attraction do you miss the most besides the Maelstrom? The reason she has besides the Maelstrom is because I always give her a hard time that the Maelstrom is gone forever. Whenever she writes something on Facebook or Instagram about Maelstrom, I will put an Elsa meme up that says, "Let it go," just because I like to be a pain to her. It's all in good fun, obviously. But Sam wants to know, what's your favorite, or what attraction do you miss besides the Maelstrom? What's yours?
So my answer from Walt Disney World is always going to be Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I was so upset when they took it out. I was so mad at Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh that I actually literally boycotted the ride, which obviously affected nobody but myself, for like a year. And then I finally did it, and I was like, okay, this is really cute. And it's so ironic now because now I cannot go to Disney World without doing it because it's Jack's absolute favorite attraction. But I will always miss Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Very fortunate that it is still in Disneyland, so I was just able to ride it. But that is definitely by far the one that I miss. It's so fun. I mean, it's totally inappropriate. Like, wildly really inappropriate.
It's so funny how like creepy and inappropriate
you drink and
it
drive,
really is.
You die, you go to hell. Like, there's a lot of things that are not appropriate, but that's part of the appeal and fun.
I remember we got off, and I looked at Jack, and he was just like looking at me really funny, and I was like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Dad, you die on that ride? I'm like, yeah, but we're fine. Like, it's the character. And he's like, that's not funny. I was like, no.
I know. And Lex was like, that was super intense. And I was like, I know. But she just finished doing Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, and she was like, Mr. Cho's Wild Ride was more intense.
It's funny. Like, it's a funny thing that it's, you know, Disneyland is a completely different animal with the stuff that's still there. So that's a good one.
Thank you.
You know what? So this is going to be a weird answer for me for mine because I only rode this once.
Okay.
When it was in Walt Disney World.
That's
and it's only because I didn't go when I was young. Like, you used to go all the time when you were a kid.
Yes.
I didn't. So I rode it once, and then on my second trip to Walt Disney World, it was gone. And it's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Oh, cool.
And I've come to appreciate it a lot more as an adult and since it's been gone than I did when I rode it the first. Like, when I rode it, I was like, it was cool. I mean, you know, you have to wait a while. You have, you know, it breaks down. You got to go down into the submarine, which we kind of experienced in Disneyland with the Nemo submarines. And when you ride it out there, you're like, like only because it takes a long time.
It does take
the
a while.
The lines are long. It
is really cool though.
It takes a while to get in. It takes a while to get out. The load, the unload. It takes a while. But 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and I've done a word of the week on it, and I kind of have a lot of the ride through on there. The music, the cue, the sounds, the sights, the James Mason kind of voice guy. I think it was Pete Renaday who did the James Mason like impression for the narration of that voice. Disney legend Pete Renaday did it. He's also voices of Country Bear Jamboree and other places. But his narration, it's really his narration that puts it over the top for me. When I listen to that now or watch videos on YouTube, I'm like, man, like that was Imagineering, man.
Right.
That was a story. That was, and listen, they do a great job with stuff now.
Oh, yeah.
But, and I have like a little Nautilus in my poster in my office.
You
and
do.
I don't know. I think if I could bring back one thing, it would be 20. Just because I think I like the look of it, the feel of it. It was an enormous attraction.
No, that was a great answer.
Thank you. It's really cool. And I would not bring back the Maelstrom because I'm going to bring it up.
Sorry, Sam.
Sam, listen, and TD too. TD Mitchelltree, who's another one of our vacationers on either their travel team. Listen, guys. Sorry, TD. Guys, TD, Sam, listen to me very carefully.
This seems harsh. This seems unnecessarily harsh.
I just like giving them, I like getting under their skin on this one. And it's done very nicely and very playfully, but let it go. It's not coming back. You know why it's going? And I talked to Lee Cockrell about this, because nobody ran to the Maelstrom when they got to Epcot.
That may be, except maybe Sam and TD.
I think they were the only two. And
hey, I liked it too, guys, so I'm not making fun of it
I didn't dislike the Maelstrom at all. I liked the Maelstrom.
Every time I was there, I went on it.
I did too, because why did you always go on it? Because it was a 1 minute wait.
That may be true.
That's why people had this love
guys,
for
I'm
it
really
now.
trying.
People had this amazing love for Maelstrom because it was the one ride you could go to Epcot and not wait for. You just walked right on. Walked right on. I always felt bad for the poor Norwegian cast members at the end who were in the theater that everyone walked right past.
I know.
Nobody sat down and watched that movie.
Watched. Poor
and they're like, oh, please, listen, sit down.
They were like so into it.
They were like, sit and find out about my country. And everyone was like, nah, I got fast passes.
Later.
I got to get to the beer garden. Like, nobody cared. So anyway, Sam and TD, that's for you.
Thank you for that question.
All right, we got a couple more questions. No, I think we got one more. This is our last one.
Oh, great.
Excuse me. This is from Chris. And Chris, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I'm going to tell you a funny story about it, though.
Okay.
Chris, I believe you say your name Aloco or Aloco. Amy, earlier when we were discussing the questions we were going to use, she called you Chris Alcoco.
I did. I'm really sorry.
Like the movie Coco.
I clearly don't think that that's right. But in the moment it felt right, so I just went for it. I do apologize. So
Chris is a frequent poster on the Ear to There Pod People group. Big Disney fan.
By the way, I did not see these questions in advance, although I did see Chris's. But I just saw that your name was on there. Chris, that's why I just wanted to tell you that.
So Chris is first. Chris has a few questions for us. So we're gonna do these and we're gonna finish up the show.
Okay.
Chris's first question was, how long have you two been together and how did you meet?
Oh, great.
Do you want to handle that one or do you want me to handle that one?
Why don't you do the how long we've been together and I'll do the how did we meet?
The how long we've been together question is, the answer is too long.
Oh my gosh. Just so you guys know, he doesn't even know how to function without me.
That's true.
And I make his life really fun.
That's true.
He slipped the other day and said
okay, whoa. We're not going to talk about that.
How he likes to be with me. That's
I did not say that.
He said, wherever you are, I want to be. And that is probably the nicest thing he's ever said.
That is a song lyric, and that I didn't make that up, and I may have said it in passing. So let's keep going.
Can't even admit it.
Let's keep going with the question.
Okay.
How long have we been together? So we've been together for 14, almost 15 years.
That is a long time.
Yeah, so 14 years. Married since 2008.
Right.
So we've been married 11 years.
The best
almost
year of
12.
Your life.
Yes. No, the best year of my life gets better every year.
Oh, that's even nicer. See,
no, that's
guys,
true.
He doesn't mean to be
That's
nice,
completely true, and it's mostly because of the children and the dog. As I get a
and
dirty
then that
look.
happens.
Anyway, God, so how do we meet? Of course, I'm kidding, of course. And you can tell by the way we talk on the podcast that we kind of like each other. Tell the meeting story, because this is a good one.
Okay, so how we met,
this is actually
a great one.
This is going to be really awkward, actually, but it's really good. Because how we met.
It's all right. Listen, the best relationships start out awkwardly.
Okay,
right?
So tell the story.
So I'll do it fast because
I was in jail. She was visiting a friend.
You guys might not be super interested, so I'll do it pretty fast. So the answer of how we met is that we both did the Disney College program. And we did it when you could still do it over the summer.
1998.
Yes. So basically the reason that we met is because I have absolutely no sense of direction, which I think I've told you guys probably 5,000 times. But I have no idea where I am at any given moment of my life. And so we were doing the college program. So we lived at Vista Way. And all of the buildings look the same. They all have the same, they're the same color, or at least they were. And so I had no idea where I was going ever. So I, was going to meet a friend.
Go ahead, tell this. If you're going to tell the story, tell the story.
All right. So I was going to meet a different guy.
On a date. There's going to be a date.
Yes, on a date. And I was walking through, and I had been walking for too long.
Hours.
And definitely longer than anyone should ever have walked. Because I was in building 23, and I was trying to get to building 6, and that did not work out. So I was walking, and I hadn't seen anyone. And I finally saw this guy across the parking lot.
I mean, devastatingly handsome guy.
I mean, the most gorgeous creature I had ever laid eyes on. And I said,
very, very pale and sweaty because it was early in the summer.
Do you know where Building 6 is? And this angel from up in heaven said, not only do I know where Building 6 is, but I live there. And I was like, how could this have worked out any better? That's awesome. So then he said, which apartment are you going to? And I said 603.
Yep, 603.
Wow, I remembered. I said 603, and he said, wow, that's my apartment. And then he said, who are you going to see? And I said the name of the person.
Who we can't use the name.
Obviously. And he said, wow, that's my roommate.
Right.
So I said, man, I really ran into the right person. This is really convenient. Not only is he getting me to the building, but we're going to just walk in together. So I didn't even have to find the apartment once I got in the building, which is great.
That's how we met.
That's exactly how we met. And I will tell you guys that we became best friends just even over that summer.
We did.
And then we called them the dark years. We lost touch for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then you found me again. And we never lost touch.
Right.
And then when I was living in Orlando, really quickly, he needed a roommate, and my roommate was leaving. So I said, why don't you move in?
I was moving to Orlando. You were already living there.
Did I not say that?
No, I don't know. I think I just set the stage.
Yes, and then my roommate was moving on because she was going to be living on a Disney cruise ship because she worked for Disney Cruise Line. So I said, perfect. You need a place to live, and I need a roommate. Come live with me. And then within 2 weeks, we were dating, and now...
And then 2 years later, we were married.
We are the beautiful couple that you have.
Or 3 years later, we were married. But the fun part about that story is a couple things. One, my roommate, who you were going to meet, just ended up becoming one of my best friends. And you guys dated briefly.
I'm a boyfriend. No, just
a few weeks.
2 months.
The funny part, a couple funny things about this story. One, about how we met. One, when I got to the apartment, we got in, and my roommate was there, Amy's date, and I took him aside, and I said something like, "Yeah, she's really nice." And then I said, "What are your plans?" And he said, "I'm going to make her dinner."
Oh yes, this is.
And I said, "What are you going to make?" And he said, "Pasta." And I said, awesome. And he said, yeah. And he opened the cabinet in the kitchen, and there was fresh pasta that he had bought the day before in the cabinet, not in the refrigerator. So I looked at it, and I looked at him, and I said, you can't cook this. And he said, why? And I said, because that needed to be refrigerated when he bought it yesterday. So then I don't know what he ended up making that night. It wasn't that.
I think he made shrimp or something. I guess they were okay.
He couldn't make the pasta for sure.
So basically, you saved my life.
I saved your life. And then you guys dated for a couple weeks. And then you ended up staying friends with him.
Yes.
And
it was very amicable.
Yeah, it was a college program. Listen,
nobody cared.
People were dating and breaking up every 2 seconds on that thing. And we all ended up staying friends. And when you and I got married, he was in our wedding.
Yes.
And he's still one of our best friends to this day.
Absolutely.
So that's a weird thing, but it worked out. So that's
how life rolls, baby.
So that's how we met. That's how long we've been together. Chris, also, this is a couple more things. This is really nice, Chris. I like how you guys tease and make fun of each other in a fun way. Of course, it's real and not phony. My wife and I like to do the same thing. That was very
good.
nice.
I'm so glad.
Thank you, Chris. And he said,
that's really nice. Thank you.
One more thing. What started your love of all things Disney? Have a great day. And that is from Chris, again, Alaco. I'm sorry, Chris. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Not Al Coco, definitely.
Definitely not Al Coco.
So, Ames, what started your love of all things Disney? Chris wants to know.
Chris, this was
and I think it's a good way to end the show.
It's a perfect way to end the show. It's a great question because I know your answer is so different from mine because we had such a different Disney experience. So I think this is really fun. So for me, I had a very similar Disney experience to our kids, which was I went when I was a tiny little thing. And I know we say it all the time on the podcast, so I don't have to belabor it, but people always say, why would I bring my little kids? And as a person that was brought, my first trip, I was 4 years old. And I've got to be honest, the only thing I remember from being 4 years old is the Disney trip. I'm not joking. I mean, I know I have pictures and my parents have told me, stories and all, but I have just very vivid memories of being in Disney World. I remember being in the Contemporary, which is where we stayed, and like playing in the arcade. I remember meeting Woody the Pooh for the first time. I remember getting completely lost.
You were in the Fiesta Family Fun Center.
I was in the Family Fun Center.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I was. And it was like really orange.
I've only read about the Family Fun Center.
Yes. Oh, we were there all the time. And I remember getting incredibly lost and having a dormouse from Cinderella grab my hand and hold my hand for what felt like an hour, may very well have been an hour, until finally we found my family. I wasn't at all panicked because I was hanging out with the dormouse. Like, how could you be upset? And it was like so fun. So honestly, that is what started my love for Disney, is because I was there when I was so young. I just fell in love with it at that age and never stopped. And then when I remember so clearly, I was in college and it was one of my sorority sisters. She and I met, and she said, I'll tell you one thing. I just met you, and I just finished something called the Disney College Program. And I was like, there's such a thing as that? And she said, yes. And from your personality, I can tell you, right. Yeah. I can tell you that you would be great there and you would absolutely love it. And I was like, I'm all in. And as soon as I heard about it, then I was like, sold. I was like, I am going to do the college program. I'm going to work there. I'm going to live there. That's going to be my world. And so that is how I fell in love with Disney and stayed.
That's a great story, of
Thank
course.
you.
I did know it, but I like hearing it every time.
That's nice.
Mine is very different.
Super different.
And I was very aware of the Disney company and of Walt Disney World and Disneyland growing up. Like, I liked the movies. I remember the first time I ever went to a Disney movie was a re-release of Pinocchio when I was really little. I would have to look at the years that it was re-released. But I went to this old-fashioned theater my grandfather took my brother and I. And I remember that was the first Disney movie we had ever gone to. And the theater was so old that there was an intermission in between so they could change the reels of Pinocchio.
I forgot about the intermissions.
That's so that's how long ago that was.
Yes.
So that was my first like real introduction to the movies. But my love for the parks and for wanting to work there happened when, and this is kind of a long way to get to the punchline here. But when my sister on her third birthday, I think fourth birthday.
It was fifth, but go on. I think it's fifth.
It's a very early birthday. I forget. I always forget the year.
It was fifth.
My sister was little kid, and she'd been having problems with headaches. And back then, this was in the early 90s.
Right.
1990, probably 91, something like that. Doctors weren't as good as they are now.
Right.
I'm sure they were good, but they didn't jump
They
to
didn't
do
know
tests
what they
as
know
soon
now.
as, yeah.
Right.
She had headaches, and the doctor was probably like, oh, she's probably okay. Turns out she went for an MRI. On her birthday, got a call from a doctor, told my parents, bring her to the emergency room. Right now, she has a brain tumor and needs emergency surgery. That happened when I was asleep overnight. They called in the middle of the night. I woke up to my aunt being at my house and saying that, sorry, a phone call was coming in. I woke up to my aunt saying, my brother and I, you're not going to school today. Your sister had to have emergency surgery. She's at the hospital. Crazy. So, amazingly, she went through a couple brain surgeries. She's fine now. She's 32.
She's an excellent.
32. She has a 1.5-year-old little boy. She's doing great. Married, teacher, all those things. But when she was going through all that, she had to learn how to walk again.
Unbelievable.
She had to learn how to talk again, how to use her whole. She was right-handed when she was little. Now she's left-handed because she really never got full function of her right side of her body. So amazingly, you would really never know.
You would never know if you didn't.
Unless she tries to pick up something.
Like a drink.
Yeah, if she tries to pour a drink with her right hand. Why she tries to do that, I have no idea.
I don't know.
But it just goes crazy and spills everywhere. But anyway, as she was going through with it, my mom's brother, my uncle said, listen, once you were healthy, I'm going to take you to Disney World. You've been through so much.
What an amazing uncle, right?
Yeah, he said, you've been through so much.
And nobody in your immediate family had been, or no?
No, I don't think so, no.
No, they hadn't.
Listen, I'm not trying to be crazy, but my family couldn't afford it. My parents couldn't afford to take us to Disney World, right?
Yeah, a lot of
at that time. So, we had three young kids in Catholic school. Like, they just couldn't do it.
A lot of expenses.
Yeah, so they, my sister healed, got a lot better, was walking, talking, all that. We took a trip to Walt Disney World. First thing we did was go to Magic Kingdom.
You were 13, right?
I always go back and forth. I forget. I was either 12 or 13. I think I was 13. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I was 13. So the VHS tape that we have of that trip there's no year on it.
Right.
So no one can remember what year it was. I think it was 92 and I think I was 13. So the first thing we did was walk. I had no idea the size of Walt Disney World. I remember when we drove on the property, my uncle was like, we're in Disney World. And I was like, no, we're not. We're on a highway. And he's like, we're here. Disney owns this land. And I remember being...
You were like blown away.
Yeah,
right?
like, I think for people who haven't been to Walt Disney World, you get there and you're like, no, it doesn't make any sense. It's just a highway.
Right.
No, Disney owns it. It's the size and scope of it blew me away. And then the Magic Kingdom, my first day in the Magic Kingdom, I'll never forget. I told my parents, I want to work here.
I remember you telling me that.
I was like, I want to know how this works. I want to know how the monorail works. I want to know why that person's wearing that costume. I want to know why there's music playing. I want to know why it smells like chocolate chip cookies on Main Street. I want to know everything.
And I want to be part of it.
And I want to do this. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
And I made several goes at making Disney a career. I have trouble living in Central Florida because of the heat. It's just, I'm not good in the heat. I don't do really well. So just for medical reasons. So I'm so excited that how many years ago? 6 years ago? 5-6 years ago? I decided to start doing this career, this job.
You figured out a way to make Disney your career without having to be in Orlando.
Yeah. So I am fully immersed, and look at my office.
Yes,
fully immersed in Disney while being in Pennsylvania. So that started my love for Disney. And then, man, since then, it just ratcheted up from crazy to completely bizarre and irrational.
And I think absolutely the fact that we're a couple and we're both so into Disney just really adds to it. And then now our kids are...
Our poor kids never had a shot.
Alexa's definitely working there. Maybe all three.
Yeah.
But she's definitely going to work there.
Yeah, so that's what it was, man. It was the first time being in Magic Kingdom did it for me. And then that happened again my first time in Disneyland.
No, my memories are of Magic Kingdom also. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My first memories.
My first time in Disneyland, on Main Street in Disneyland, I said,
oh, yes.
Man,
crazy.
This is now my new favorite place. Main Street in Disneyland is my favorite place on the planet.
So that was on our honeymoon that we went to.
It was. And I've been to some cool places on this planet, but that's my favorite. No, you're not going to respond. Okay.
I totally agree. No, it's my favorite too.
I was waiting for you to respond. You just smiled.
I did because it's so true. I'm sorry. It's very true. That was a great question and a great way to end it.
So thank you, Chris, for your question. Thanks, everybody, for your questions. This was a lot of fun.
And listen, if you guys are into this one and you want us to do another one,
here comes Amy starting to put out challenges to the listeners again.
I'm just saying, if you guys are interested in us answering questions, or you could have someone else, you could have like Chuck on and have him answer questions. Just let us know if you guys are into that, because I would love to do this again.
Yeah, email me the questions, phil@eartotheretravel.com. You can also call your questions in.
Oh, that's fun.
Did you know we had a voice line? I use the voice line mostly for What About Bob questions for when Bob is on. That phone number is 267-551-1971. So 267-551-1971, which just so happens to be the opening year of Walt Disney World. Excuse me. Call your questions in and you'll be able to hear your voice on the show.
Oh, that'll be so fun. Let's do that next time.
All right, let's do that. Ames, you're the best. Thank you, everybody, for your questions.
Thank you guys so much. This was so fun.
And that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There Disney Podcast. Thank you so much to Amy for helping me answer all the questions in the old mailbag. And thank you to you, everyone who sent in a question. I apologize if I didn't get to your question on this episode. I promise I will get to your questions in future episodes as long as people enjoy this one. So, yes. And if people don't want to hear another question episode, I will email you the answers to those questions that I didn't cover. Good? Okay, good. So thank you to Amy. Thank you to everyone who sent in a question. And thank you so much to you, the listener. Listen, I know you have a lot of other stuff you could be doing and listening to. I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate the fact that you're listening to this right now. These shows are a ton of fun, but they also require a lot of work. And not just dealing with my wife, but I hope she hears that. But no, from the recording to the editing to the publishing to everything, it takes a while. So thank you so much for listening, for making it worth it. And I really hope you enjoy each and every episode that we do. So this week, I'm going to ask you for a small favor. Well, two small favors, actually. First, please subscribe to the podcast. I know a lot of you are listening because I can see it in the numbers, but a lot of you aren't subscribed, so please do that this week. And also, if you haven't given an honest rating and review over at Apple Podcasts, please do that. It takes like 2 minutes. Jump onto your phone right now. You're probably listening on your phone or on your iPad or you're listening on your laptop. Just click on the name of the show. Leave an honest rating, an honest review. I'd really, really appreciate it, and you are awesome. And you should just remember that next week there will be a new episode of the show, as well as hopefully, I'm trying my best to put out a new word of the week and a new magical minute next week as well. So look for those. So until next time, thank you again so much for listening. I really appreciate you. Have yourself an amazing week. Bye-bye.
Ear to the